Welcome. We're going to have so much fun getting to know AI together. I'm Jim Peak. So nice to meet some of you, first time friends. Good to see some of you, longtime friends. I'm so grateful you're here. That was an AI created song. You can make songs with AI now, and they can have the message you like. You can also turn them into lyric videos like that using AI in minutes. So let's dive right in to what we really want to be talking about today, how to have that feeling of calm, that feeling of clarity and confidence as we move forward with AI. This is going to be interactive, so feel free to unmute yourself and ask questions as we go and to pop things in the chat as we go. And to start, I want to ask you, what is it that you would really like to get from AI? Put that in the chat. What's one thing you would love to do next using AI tools? Let's talk about some applications as we move forward. This is about bringing the human into AI. We're bombarded constantly with so many messages about new tools. And who here sometimes feels a little overwhelmed? Raise your hand high if you sometimes are like, God, there's just too many tools coming at me, too many different bits of info. I'm drowning in information and starving for wisdom. So that's where we want to go. We want to get from that place to a place of, I can breathe. I'm having fun. I'm feeling confident. So one of my clients was recently talking to me about how overwhelmed he was. He had 42 tabs open. Who here suffers from tab overwhelm? Yes, absolutely. And he had too many tools. He couldn't decide which one was the best tool to use with these AI endeavors. Should he, even in the language models, he was going like, should I use ChatGPT or should I use Gemini, Claude? He was feeling like someday I'm going to reach that nirvana where I'm productive and organized. But he was dealing with those little notification bells, the emails coming in, and he was constantly getting out of his flow. And when we were talking, he realized that what he had been thinking of as productivity was actually just busyness. And sure, it made him feel sometimes like special, kind of felt that sense of like importance. And he was realizing it wasn't healthy, it wasn't for him. So with one prompt, we got him going in a new direction. I'm going to see if it's still in my clipboard. Yes, it is. So I'm going to paste it into my clipboard for you. You can copy and paste it or put it into a tab. I encourage that too. If you want to try out some of the things in ChatGPT as we go. This prompt was based on everything you know about me, my business, my goals. What are some of the most powerful ways that I could support me right now? Give me ideas, things I haven't considered. Ask me clarifying questions if necessary, and help me uncover opportunities to save time, grow faster, and improve my day to day flow. He was turning to ChatGPT as his brainstorming buddy, and he was utilizing this awesome hack where you can ask ChatGPT based on what you know about me, help guide me. So it's not just being like general, but is diving in deep. We'll talk a little bit more about that later. So he did this and he started this process of simplification. He took some of the recommendations and then he used other prompts to get clear on where was he wasting time that wasn't really important to him. It was all sorts of work and activity that wasn't doing the thing that mattered most. And he was able to eliminate some things and move forward with a sense of growing calm, clarity, and confidence every day. That's what I want for you. And I see in the chat some of the applications that you said. Taran says, I'm already using some tools and I'm interested in more possibilities. Awesome, Taran. That's exactly what it's all about for me too. Constant growth. And Steve says, I would like an avatar that looks like me and stays on camera. I love that, Steve. We can talk about creating an avatar that like is a little clone of yourself and helps you deal with all the productivity that you need to do. Keep them coming. If you have any questions or thoughts, this shifted for my client and it will shift for you. You can feel that simplicity like, okay, I'm on top of this. No matter what innovation's coming, I got it. Just like that song said, I got it. I can move forward with the courage, confidence, and calm. Today, we're talking about that. A few simple ways to get calm, to get clear, and to get confident. I'm going to give you some frameworks that I've unraveled, that I've discovered that will make it easy to make the most out of AI. And you already know why this matters. You're probably feeling that pain. Productivity is a myth. We've been hearing about it for decades that we can become more productive and then we're going to have more time to spend with loved ones. We're going to have more time to, play and do the things that we really love. But what's the truth? What's the truth? What have we been doing? We've been getting that productivity and we've just been working harder, right? We've been adding to our activity, doing more, seeing how we could add to our revenue income making machines. So let's turn that around and get some real peace. And the way we do this is we make AI our buddy, our brainstorming partner, and keep it playful. That's what I'm all about. Finding the humor in it, the fun, and making it a workflow that really works for us. So one way that we're going to do that is we're going to choose one tool, your weapon of choice. Put in the chat if you already know and just specify what's the one tool that I really use all the time. Go ahead and pop that in the chat. I'm curious what's working for you. Gemini, awesome, Taryn. That's great. So you found that tool of choice that you can focus on. And ChatGPT says Rich, and Perplexity. Rich, you have two there. So if you had to decide, which one would you do? ChatGPT or Perplexity? And it's okay if you end up using a little bit of one for one thing and a little bit of the other. And having said that, I want to encourage everyone watching this and everyone watching the recording that when you decide on that one tool that's going to be your weapon of choice, your peace, your sense of certainty grows exponentially. And you can have that sense of strength when it comes to all of the temptations of some other shiny object coming your way. And we are all hearing about those all the time, aren't we? And you put this into daily use. You make a daily habit. I'm very curious too, from those of you, how many times a day do you think you use Gemini or ChatGPT? Plop that in the chat. I'd be really curious. Is it one time a day? Three times? So many times you can't count. You have so many conversations. You have no idea. I see in the chat here 6 to 12 times a day, Taryn. That's fantastic. That is a key for making a lot of progress in AI. The more you use it, the more comfortable you get, and it will become more powerful for you. So, in addition to having daily wins, you're going to be getting better and better results, believe it or not. So, let's blend AI with your natural working style. When choosing that tool, what's like how you work based on your personality? You may already know if you've done a personality assessment like the Big Five, DISC assessment, Myers-Briggs, Enneagram, whatever works for you. Do you already know that you're very extroverted versus introverted? Put in the chat if you know, if you lean towards extroversion or introversion, and how is your relationship with a plan? Is a plan something that you honor that's like, it's awesome, Taryn, extrovert, fantastic. Is a plan something that is really like written in stone for you? You make the plan and then you stick to it? Or is a plan something that maybe you make? And if you make it, when you get to the street, when your pedal hits the metal, you might throw that plan out the window. Awesome, Steve, extrovert. That's great. These kinds of distinctions you know about yourself. If you've never done a Myers-Briggs test, it's so simple to find one on the internet. Just search for free test, free personality assessment, and you'll get some really interesting insights into what works for you. So, for example, we have a couple introverts on the call. I'm also an introvert. I find that working with the dictation, like voice dictation, talking into my app version of ChatGPT on my phone or talking into it on the desktop is so much more satisfying. I spend way too much time typing in quiet, expressing. Sometimes I just let it all come out and talk to ChatGPT or Gemini like your best friend. We talked about having 42 tabs open. What if you opened up your brainstorming buddy at the end or beginning of the day and just talked it through? Like there was a friend here and said, "Hey, chat, just be my buddy. And I'm going to talk through these tabs and maybe I'll decide right away. I'll know that I can kill this one. I can close this one. But then there's another one that I'm feeling a little bit like if I close this, I'm afraid I might forget about it. I'll be worried that 2 months will go by and I'll need to re-drill back in and go through that pain. As you talk it through in an extroverted way, you can get a lot of progress closing those tabs. That's using your personality with the tool that works best for you. Let's talk about that first big goal. We want to feel calm. Calm comes from a few simple things. We all know about breathing. Let's take a big deep breath. Awesome. And we also know that the more we simplify, we can get a greater sense of calm. The next thing is my framework for getting the best prompts possible. You may have heard about different building blocks, ways of introducing elements into a chat. For example, I'll open up ChatGPT right here. And you may have heard that you can add different elements like context, what the task is, and maybe restrict results to 500 characters or 500 words. But have you ever had that experience where there's so many different things you don't know what to include? The BARD framework is a simple way to remember, to me, the four most important things that you want to put into any prompt. The first one is, who do you want it to be? Say you're wanting it to write an email. Do you want it to be a marketing expert or do you want it to be a social media expert? What do you want chat to act as? That will help it talk to you in the language that works for you in that situation. It's the role. Act as, and you can put a certain personality too. If there's a teacher like Stephen Covey, the author of 17 Habits, Highly Effective People, you could say, act as Stephen Covey and the wizard you are in writing. It could be a blog, it could be an email. 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. I was thinking about my bonus that you get for coming onto this webinar, 17 creative prompts for Midjourney. You're going to have it be somebody. And let's just go with be, in the top 1/10% of social media marketing experts. And then the A stands for alternatives. Instead of getting back a whole novel of results, say 20 different ideas, you could say, give me 3. Isn't that cool? You can ask ChatGPT for email after email. If you were to go to a friend, if you were to go to a colleague that you work with and say, hey, could you write an email for me? They might say, okay, this time. But then you come back and say, could you write 2 more? How would they feel? And then you come back and say, could you write 20 for me? You're not going to be very popular in that office. You could give it how many you want. I often say, give me a dozen ideas. We talked about B is B, A is alternatives, R in the BARD is restrict. And that's like, I don't want a whole Harry Potter novel to read. Restrict to 500 words or characters if you're in a hurry. The D stands for details. Be specific. If I just said, write me an email, It would just be horrible. It would be not useful on any sense of the word. So we want to give it details. Instead of write an email, say write a post about marketing as an extrovert using AI tools that will best fit. Then there's one last thing that you can make this bard do. You know, bard is the term for Shakespeare, that the poet bard. Make bard reflect too. Add a bit to your prompt so that it will add more to your outstanding results. So make the bard reflect. So you just say reflect on this and ask me any questions. Ask questions so we get the best results. And I have this programmed into my shortcuts. It's simple. It's just those 30 things. Reflect, ask clarifying questions so we get outstanding results. And sometimes it will ask those questions, and sometimes it doesn't need it. It might already have enough context. But here it is asking these questions. Who are these emails for? Fantastic. That's another thing that could add details of who's this for? And the goal of the emails: sell, nurture, or educate. The tone, how do we want it to be? It's giving me extra questions so I could get the best results. Let's say Telegram, sell, and be playful, and the tools. That's the fourth thing. And the post, should the expert marketing post sound like a mini sermon, a pep talk, or a how to? Definitely not the first two. And a call to action should be, yeah, join webinar. How's that for making that be so much more outstanding than what I would have got in the beginning? Now it has an email for me. It's funny, it said email, even though I was asking for a Telegram prompt. So I could go back in and I could edit this by clicking this little edit button and say, give me a Telegram post, not an email, and then send that. There we go. Needed a second. So now we're going to get a different result. Do that only when you don't like anything in the result. If you like anything, some ideas really stand out. I always take the full answer and put it into my second brain. I use Notion. If you use anything else, Word, Apple Notes, Google Docs, you could take it in there and edit it and get the gold you like. Right now, I could quickly scan these, decide which one feels best, and then carefully read through it and get the results that I want. But the key is increasing my sense of calm by having that ability to use the bard. B, alternatives, restrict, details, and then make that bard reflect. And that will give us the results that we really want. Any questions so far? Thumbs up? Awesome. Fantastic. Appreciate it. So that's the BARD framework. Thank you, Steve. Now, the clarity comes from a very simple framework called OWL, and that stands for outcome, why, and leverage. Often, when we're not feeling clear, when we're having a hard time making a decision, what's really going on is we're thinking about the different paths that we could take, and we're forgetting to think about what we really want, what we desire. There's a difference. People think about, should I stay or go? And those are the paths that we're going to take. And instead, we could go, okay, what do I really want? Well, I want to feel a sense of accomplishment, maybe. I want to feel a sense of pride. And we can list out those things that we really desire. What is in our heart? What do we hope to get out of this decision? That's the outcome. And it will get very clear, and we'll know which outcomes matter most when we go to the second part, the why. And for that, I'm going to throw another little framework at you. Write this down if you want. If we were to ask why I want a certain result, we may get some answers, but I find it's more powerful to use a third framework that I'm going to give to you today, and that's REGAL, REGEL. And that stands for 5 different questions we can ask to get clear on what matters most. The first question is, what are the reasons we want this outcome? Once you get some reasons, the second question is, how am I going to feel? What are the emotions that I'm going to feel when I get that outcome? Am I going to feel pride, accomplishment, or more love and connection? What am I going to feel? Am I going to feel excitement? The third in that acronym is G, gain. What else am I going to gain? Income, confidence. The next question is the second E for else. Who else will this benefit? My spouse, my children, my clients. The last part of Regal is L for love. Who am I going to become? The better self, the best self that I love. That's Regal. Pop it in the chat what you remember. R stands for reasons. E stands for emotions. G stands for gain. E stands for else. And the last one is love. Who am I going to become? My best self that I love. Thanks so much, Rich. I was typing that in the chat, but accidentally into a private chat with one of the participants. Thank you so much, Rich. That's it. Awesome. Thank you, Steve. The L stands for leverage, which is simply all about AI. AI is our major leveraging tool. Which tool are we going to use to get results with the least effort? So that's all about getting that sense of clarity. Because once you do that OWL technique, you get your outcome, your why, and your leverage, you're going to feel more clear. And the decisions are going to become so much easier. Confidence, we all think that we need confidence first. But the truth is, we get confidence by doing. When you were a kid, you got confident at tying your shoes just by doing it over and over again. Then, when we were teenagers, often we learned how to drive. We didn't feel confident in the beginning, but we started. And if you learned on a stick shift, you had an even more challenging action to go forward with. And then we learned and we got more confident as we worked forward. So that confidence comes by taking action, and it comes by being playful about it, having a lot of fun as we do those habitual daily activities. Like Taran doing 6 to 12 prompts a day, that's fantastic. It comes from shifting your what if. That's the title of my forthcoming book, Shift Your What If. Moving from what if like AI replaces me? What if the worst happens to a, hey, what if I learn how to use these tools and I have that competitive edge and all of a sudden I'm increasing all of the good in my life in the easiest way? Let's take a break to wake it up. I want to share Suno, the tool I use to create songs. Who here has ever created a song? Okay, good. This is another tool you could use, 70% for fun, but it's a great way to condition truth, feeling calm, clear, confident. You can create a song with your own words. If you've ever used an affirmation or an incantation, you could create your own song by using a tool like ChatGPT to create lyrics, and then coming in here to Suno and adding those lyrics here, putting a genre and then a title, and clicking go and having it automatically create a song like what we did here, The Teaspoon of Courage. That came out when a friend and I were doing an intervention. We were helping someone in need. And my friend just said, he held up a teaspoon because we were at a diner. And he said, do you know what this is? The client said, no. He said, this is a teaspoon of courage. Have it. She took it and poured it over her head. And it became the inspiration for a song. You could use your tool of choice. If it's Gemini, you could go to that. If it's ChatGPT, you could go to that. And you could just say, write lyrics on this topic and work through iterations, maybe replace certain lyrics, then bring it into Suno and quickly make a song. And so let's take just a moment to make sure that we're keeping the energy up. I'm going to go to my favorites playlist and pick one that could be, a good, here we go. We need to decide, we need to produce. So let's just wake it up for 30 seconds. I invite you to wake it up. Here we go. Here we go.
Click play, let's go, make it flow with focus. Let's get it. I don't chase every path, I choose mine and lead it.
Imagine how you could create some songs for the fun.
Wrong steps, just courage and stride. Cause the what ain't no thing, it's the how I ride. I ain't lost, I know, no more maybe zones. I delete that doubt, now I sit on the throne. My clients get gold, not glitter. I don't do 17 things, I do the right stuff. I decide.
Awesome. Awesome.
Ask me how with focus. Yeah, I can make anything shine.
Way to go. Fantastic. So I highly encourage you to give Suno a try. You can test it out and see if you like it. It's super simple. I got 46 songs in this playlist. While I'm working out, all lift me up. And they have the kind of things that I want to be ingrained in me instead of some of the messages that are in the popular media. And that brings us to our next topic. Watch your cup. Get very careful about what's going in. If you had a cup of coffee and someone just slipped a little sugar in it, no big deal. If someone slipped a little arsenic in it, it would be a huge deal. Watch your coffee cup. Be very decisive about what you allow in. What I'm specifically referring to now is you're going to hear a lot of people say, AI sucks. AI is going to take my job. AI is going to take over. There is a lot of fear-based things being said right now, doom predictions, and it's all just a cry for help. It's all just people feeling very concerned about what's coming. And so I have a sense of compassion about it, but I don't allow it to go in. I don't allow it to be like something that I imbibe in my cup of coffee. If someone comes to me and they say, Skynet is coming, I reassure myself and them that AI is not going to totally replace anyone's jobs. It's people who have AI like you that are going to have the competitive edge. It's just a tool. I want to celebrate you for embracing it. You know, this is a tool that can be used to create great things. So let's do a simple demonstration. This is summarization. And if you use like Taran Gemini, you could do something very similar. I'll use ChatGPT and you can simply translate it. There is often way too much information coming at us, right? A friend might forward an article, someone might recommend a book. There might be a seminar that you attend, and it's so much great information, but it's overwhelming. This is what I do to summarize. This is just my preferred way because I like to have control. You could also use tools like Otter. You could use Fathom with a Zoom meeting like this. You could use all sorts of note-taking tools that will summarize for you. Often, what I like to do is capture the meeting in any way possible. Sometimes I'll use the Zoom recording like what we're using now. Sometimes I'll just put on my voice memos on my phone and capture the transcript in the way that works for you. Put in the chat how you capture notes, how you get a transcript of things. What works for you? Do you prefer Fathom? Do you prefer Otter? Gemini, fantastic. Awesome. It does a really good job. Workplace AI, Scribe, awesome. The accuracy is huge. I agree. Different levels of accuracy, and I found Gemini fantastic on transcription. You can put an audio file into it and it will transcribe it. I have not found that to be possible with chat. Chat with the temporal based things like video and audio, I use something else first. In ChatGPT, there are personalization settings. In the lower left corner, you can click on your name and go to personalization. And you have custom instructions. You have more about you. You have a bunch of ways that ChatGPT is trying to automatically give you context, give you better results by knowing a little bit about you. Fill in custom instructions and more about you. And automatically, as long as you have it on, you can have things that you've typed in there be remembered in your memories. Like here's my Bard and Owl, different frameworks. When you're in this, to get a little bit more control, I like to put short codes in the custom instructions. And one of that is just the word organized sum put together. And this automatically translates to an executive summary first, headers, bullets, emojis. I'm visual, so I like emojis. And don't put a spreadsheet. I added that because for a while ChatGPT was giving me a spreadsheet with the results. Don't do any of the intro and outro fluff. Just give me some quick results. That's my organized sum. I'll put that in the chat in case anybody wants to do something similar. If I had a really big transcript, let's go to YouTube and see what comes up. This is totally spontaneous, so we'll see if there's a video we can do, let's say AI. And you can see here is a video that is exactly what I was talking about earlier. This musician saying AI sucks and the music sucks. That's going to happen. Okay, let's go to a different video. How about this one about Suno and VEO3 and how you can make an insane combo using videos from VEO3 with Suno. I'm just going to click on it.
Imagine being able to build.
So we don't have to listen to the ad. I'm using a simple Chrome extension called YouTube Transcript AI Summary. There are many of these. So just go to the Chrome extension store, try one and see if it works. I was using a different one and it stopped working. After a few attempts to debug it, I just decided, well, let's find something else. And this one I really like a lot. It has this little summary bar down here. I can click and go into a transcript and bam, right away, I have a pretty good summary, a pretty good transcript. Now, yes, you could get something that was more accurate in different ways. And often I find that even if the transcript isn't perfect, I still get great results. Now that I have that, I can use my short code, organize sum, and put the following in brackets, but I don't really have to. And I just put that whole transcript. And now, if I've watched this video and really liked it, I don't have to go re-watch it again. Have you ever went to a video and you just thought it was the greatest thing, and then you're just like, wow, how can I get those details again? Well, now you got it. With something like this, or with your Gemini transcription, or one of the other tools, you got an executive summary with bullet points that talks about it right away. Okay, here's how you can create a polished soundtrack. And I'm interested because I love making songs. I make one or two songs with Suno every day. I look like, okay, this could be fun. I love working with VEO3 as well. I can combine those two and assemble a music video. My virtual assistant went to Canva. Canva is another place where you can go and create great YouTube videos. And she went there to get this lyric video. And instead of using the lyric video possibilities at Canva, she actually just created a video with the imagery and then took it into Descript. Descript is a video editing tool that puts your video into a transcript so you can edit by changing the words. Has anybody used Descript? It's not as popular. Okay, a little bit. I really want to celebrate all of you for playing full out. Raise your right hand. Raise your right hand. Yeah, that's it. Now lean forward and give yourself a pat on the back because you are engaging like a superstar. Thank you. My virtual assistant made this in Canva, then took it into Descript. And in Descript, she could add these awesome karaoke style lyrics so people could sing along and know the words. I use it every time we teach. We open with a video like this. So we have these different possibilities of organizing. You can do all sorts of summary and get the results that you want. Like I said, often I copy this and take it into my other systems so that I could add it and get just what I want. Any sort of summarization works. Like you said, Taran, I have found Gemini to be so fantastic. And the only reason why I'm not going there is because I want to help everybody focus on their tool of choice. If that's Gemini, for any of you watching, go for it and use the transcription service at Gemini. Try it out today because it is fantastic. It is super accurate. The reason why I have my virtual assistant go into Descript is the same thing. I found it to be the most accurate, and Gemini is right up there with it. By the way, the voice memo on my phone is the least accurate that I've found. It's really, really messy. And I still get out, I don't know how it works. It's magic. I still get out a bullet point if that's the only thing I can use. And that's something that I encourage you to do too, is work with what works. And whenever you feel that little mind trying to make sure it's perfect, it's going to be 100%, just take a deep breath and remember you got everything you need. Good enough is better than perfect. That never gets to fruition. You can just feel that clutter fall away. Productivity is simplification with a few steps. Identify what matters most. Then with habitual, playful action, you build a confidence. That's where you experience the productivity. Instead of having all these things flying around him, spinning all these plates, he was focusing and he was doing what really mattered the most. And he was, most of all, what we all want is he was feeling so much more fulfilled. Let's have an experience of that. Let your hair down, shake it out, play a little more after. Calm, clear, confident. It's all a feeling, right? And we think, our little minds think that we're going to get that feeling when we get to the goal. When we get to our outcome that we want so bad, we think that we're going to feel those feelings. But the truth is, we can feel those feelings along the way. Louis L'Amour, a cowboy Western writer, said the thing to remember when traveling is that the trail is the thing, not the end of the trail. Travel too fast and you miss all that you're traveling for. And I like to think of that quote also as like the trail is the thing. As I'm on the trail, I can feel a certain way. I invite you to play all out for 1 minute. And let's just take a moment to think of a time when we really felt those feelings clear, calm, confident, and and just have a moment of reset. And I'll put on a little music. I want to invite you, feel free to close your eyes. Think of a time when you felt so calm on top of it, when you felt like, I know exactly where I'm going. We've all had those feelings. There's been a time when you've been in flow. So go back to a time when you felt like you were on top of the world. You were confident, you knew what you just knew it. You were feeling that sense of calm clarity. And when you have that time, go ahead and actually go back to that moment and see what you were seeing, hear what you were hearing. Was there something you were saying to yourself? That's it. You got this. And feel what you were feeling. That moment when you felt like you were in total flow, calm and confident. What were you seeing? Bring that vision closer to you. Make the colors brighter. Imagine a volume knob that's amplification. And turn up the volume on that image. And make it a movie instead of a still image. Hear what you were hearing. Were you saying to yourself, I've got this? What were you saying to yourself? Or what were others saying to you? That's it. And now again, turn it up. Make sure that you're increasing the volume of the feeling. Even more calm. Even more clear. Even more confident. As you're feeling that, step into that moment even more. Feel those feelings. Take a deep breath in, and as you breathe in, imagine all those feelings going into your very core, in the very center of your being. They're just soaking in to the very center of your being and assimilating. And the truth is, this is who you really are right now. All right, good. Now take one more deep breath in and go ahead and come back. Awesome. Way to go. And that is exactly who you are. As we go on this path of mastering AI, we can feel that clarity as we go. I'd love to tell you about my new membership, the Time Rich Creator. What we'd like to do is have an ongoing experience to grow in our ability to use AI as the leveraging tool and to do it with friends from around the world. With the Time Rich Creator membership, we are doing weekly sessions together where we can come together and make sure that we're actually implementing and doing the work. We're going to be working off of workflows that'll provide prompt suggestions, having a lot of fun, making it playful, and exploring things like the courage and the identity shifts that we can do with AI as our tool. Did you know that you can even use AI to find your sense of purpose? If you're not really clear about, what is your overarching ultimate sense of purpose in life, there's a technique that I could share with you where you could find that out. This membership is going to be $79 a month, but for the first 100 people, it'll be $37 a month. And what you'll get is this mentor kit that makes you totally set with all the tools that you would want to do. You get to have a clean workspace. You get to move forward with that simple workspace that makes you get the weekly wins that you really, really want. We'll have live sessions, like I said, because that's where I find the most fun will happen, is getting together and having fun together. We'll find the simplest tools and the quickest ways to use those tools to get the momentum so that you have the time to spend with the people that you love. And you actually move from that place of pseudo productivity where you're learning all these techniques, but you're finding that it's taking so much time to learn them that you're not actually spending time with the people that you love. And you're not actually getting out and doing those activities that you love. We're going to learn and master that ability and stay true to that standard so that we actually have that sense of enjoyment, calm, and clarity. Now is the time to stop drowning in this sense of too much to do. Now is the time to start being creative and playful. If you'd like to make songs, let's play. If you'd like to make music videos, let's play. If you really just want to make more income by doing more marketing, getting more people aware of what you're doing more blogging, social media, or creating a community, you're going to be able to do that with these AI tools, all the while feeling a deep sense of love, certainty, growth, playfulness, momentum, confidence, and time with all that sense of joy. I'll put in the chat this link here, and I want to open it up for questions that you have. Any aha insights, any tools, anything that you're working on lately. I want to thank you for joining me. Experiment with tools that work for you. Find out what really is your weapons of choice, and then use the BARD system so that you can get the prompt results that you want. Remember the owl for getting that outcome. What's the fuel? What's the why that will get you there and make it easier to get leverage when you get to the how-tos on the leverage part? Remember the REGAL. We're going to get deep on our why by going for reasons. What are the emotions we're going to feel? What else are we going to gain? Who do I love? The higher self. Who am I going to become that I really love? and then move forward with daily habits to make sure this is the path for you. Thank you again for joining. I encourage you join, and I'll see you in the membership in the future. Thank you. Thank you, Darren. Good to see you, Susan. Great to see you, Steve and Rich.
Take care.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Rich.